Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of Welcome to Lancer. You are probably wondering, wait, why is there more? Simple, because I can, and I wanted to thank Sitskreek for all their artworks featured in my videos but can't exactly figure out how besides doing this. Anyway, in this episode, Parzival, from Camelot Research and Development, by Sitskreek. Parzival is one of the many King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table, and is also the one that originally went on the quest for the Grail, just, Grail, not 100% Christian Holy Grail yet. The story, as written in Parzival, the story of the Grail, has Parzival meeting the Fisher King, who was wounded in a very unfortunate place and his impotence is so great it turned his kingdom into fallout. The king invited him to his castle, and Parzival noticed a few strange things being carried by the people there like a bleeding lance, a candelabra, and the Grail. Later, he got yelled at by one of the people there for not asking about the Grail and the bleeding lance, as that would heal the king somehow and save the kingdom. And then the author just stopped fucking writing, forcing other people to make continuation of the stories in which Parzival actually went on the quest for the Grail and heal the Fisher King. Named after the knight, Parzival is a size-shifting titan that can withstand heavy punishment to get close and personal. Looking at its stat, Parzival has low health, a staggering 4 armor, low evasion, and low E defense. Its average in speed while being huge, has a good heat cap, but terrible at hacking with poor tech attack and sensor range. Onto its traits, Parzival has 3 of them. First, Lance Neact, when successfully ramming character that's smaller than itself, Parzival can deal 2 kinetic damage to said character. Flexible, when Parzival is size half, whenever Parzival boosts, it gets soft cover until the start of its next turn. Heavy frame, Parzival cannot be knocked back or prone by smaller characters. These traits make Parzival perfect for bullying anyone smaller than it, and even when it's in reduced size, it can somewhat avoid incoming fire. As for its weapon mount, it has 2, 1 main and 1 heavy along with 6 base system points to customize. Onto its core system, Parzival has the Matryoshka Armor Separation System or MAS, which as a passive, with a quick action or as a reaction on taking any damage, Parzival can shed its mass, reducing itself in size and shedding a hard cover right next to it with its previous size and armor value while also transferring the damage taken to said cover. Parzival can shed the mass 3 times and gain the following base stat after each change. You can also spend a repair during stabilize action or spend a quick action right next to a section of mass to regain 1 level of use. All mass is recovered after a full rest, regardless if any was destroyed. As for its core power, Parzival can utilize its mass to perform the murder stroke protocol. Upon activation as a protocol, you can choose one of the following effects. First, recall, have Parzival immediately regaining all mass levels as well as destroying all mass sections on the field. Any enemies happen to be standing right next to those pieces must pass an agility save or be burnt for 2 burn. Second, Thunderer, instead have Parzival shredding all its mass and armor, reducing its armor value to 0 and its mass to the 3rd use for the rest of the scene. Also you could conjure a giant fucking sword of beam to cut down anyone in your way. The sword will have a line firing pattern that stretched to the edge of the bloody map and anyone in the line will take 3d6 energy damage immediately and must also pass a hull save or they will take another 4 burn. All spots hit by the attack will be covered in enough smoke and debris to be counted as soft cover until the end of the scene. Just like the Mech, its core power is flexible in whether or not you want to survive or want someone really dead instead. As for the rest of the license, you get brachial rocket-assisted weapon launcher and scutum-type reflex shield in the first section. Brachial rocket-assisted weapon launcher.
Elbow rocket!
Elbow rocket. Engage.
Now!
Need any explanation? Okay, damage, decent threat, 1 knockback, and as a protocol, you can take 1 heat and make the weapon gains line 5 firing pattern for 1 attack. Scutum type reflex shield, when you want just a little more defense, when you brace, you gain an additional +1 difficulty on all attacks against you until the end of your next turn. In the second section, you get Indefatigable Servo Reroute Program and Hasty Loot Kinetic Penetrator besides Parzival frame itself. Indefatigable Servo Reroute Program, for ramming people whenever and wherever you please, for once per round. Before making a ram action, you can move up to 3 spaces directly towards your target before ramming them. Said movement also ignores engagement and doesn't provoke reaction. Hasty Loot Kinetic Penetrator, is a long as all hell stick, okay damage, great threat, armor piercing. However, you cannot attack nearby characters with it because it's too long. Also, before you attack with the weapon, you can choose to move one space directly towards your target as a free action. This increases the damage to 2d6 plus 2 kinetic. The movement also ignore engagement and doesn't provoke reaction. In the final section, you get Riposte Strike by Wire interface and Lohengrin class NHP. Riposte Strike by Wire interface, so you are never slowed down by incoming fire. After bracing, you may spend a charge from the system so you have 2 quick actions instead of 1 on your next turn. However, the first action you take that requires a roll will suffer +1 difficulty until the end of next turn. Pretty good, but as mentioned, it's limited, so make it counts. Finally, Lohengrin class NHP, for maximum chivalry, your mech gains AI tag and a protocol called Grail Knight. Upon activation with 1d3 heat, for as long as the system is active, all hostile characters within burst 5 of your mech that wishes to attack or take hostile action must pass a system save or be forced to attack you instead. Also, all movements taken by hostile character must be directly toward you at maximum speed. However, for every turn when the system is active, you take 2 heat. Thankfully, you can deactivate the system as a protocol at the start of your turn. In total, Parsifal is one hell of a close combat juggernaut that can take anything that came its way, and even if it can't, it can always sneak away as a tiny little bugger. Capable of leading the charge at the forefront of the battlefield, Parzival suits those that's looking to deal as much hits as they could take.